What's good, everybody? Welcome to High Guard MMA. Here we'll be predicting full fight cards, breaking down fights, and matchmaking guys after they fight. We'll start off with a fight card this weekend, UFC Fight Night Seattle. It's absolutely stacked. Let's get into it. All right, so the first fight of the night is a women's strawweight bout between number 13 ranked Alexia Tainar, who's 13-1, 2-0 in the UFC, and unranked Bruna Brazil, 11-6-1, 3-4 in the UFC. A little bit about Tainar here. She's a submission artist. She's got 8 wins by submission overall. She sub Meatball Molly, which I don't know if that's saying a lot. She beat Luke Bumney by decision. Luke Bumney's pretty good. Bruna Brazil, I have in my notes here, she's a decision machine, which, take that information with how you will. She's not that aggressive. Starts off really slow. She's 2-3 in her last 5. She lost to Luke Bumney. I know MMA math doesn't always add up, but I'm going Tainar by decision here. Moving on, second fight of the night, we have a men's bantamweight bout between Ricky Simón, who's 22-7, 10-6 in the UFC, versus Adrian Yanez, who is 17-6 and 6-3 in the UFC. A little bit about Ricky Simón here. He's 2-3 in his last 5. Those losses came from Barcelos, Vinicius Oliveira, and Mario Batista. And those wins came over. He had a KO over Basharat, and he had a decision win over Cameron Smotherman. 2 decent wins. He's a local guy, too. He's from Seattle area. He needs a win here. He needs a win bad. Adrian Yanez, on the other hand, 2-3 in his last 5. My notes here say he got finished by Jonathan Martinez and Rob Font. The 2 wins that he had, though, were by TKO. I'm not sure who they were against. That's on me. This is a must-win for him as well. This is a tough one, but I'm going Ricky Simón by TKO, second, third round. I just feel like he comes out with a lot of energy in this one. Hometown guy, fighting for in front of his people. So I got Ricky Simón by TKO, second, third round. Next fight of the night. Big boys. We got light heavyweights. Navajo Sterling, who's 8-0 in the UFC. 8-0 overall and 3-0 in the UFC. Versus Bruno Lopez, who's 14-2 overall, 1-1 in the UFC. Navajo Sterling, he's a CKB guy. He trains with Israel Adesanya, Volkanovski, all those guys out there in Australia, New Zealand. He fights smart, very patient. A big guy too, 6'4", very strong. Got a good clinch work, good grappling. And I have in my notes here, in all caps, left hook. He had a nasty left hook KO. I want to say it was on the Contender Series. Could be wrong about that. But a little bit about Bruno Lopez. He got KO'd by Dustin Jacoby in his last fight, by a left hook, actually. So something to think about there. He's got decent stand-up. He is a better grappler, I would say, than Navajo Sterling, but I got Sterling by decision or a late TKO here. Let's move on. Next fight of the night here, we have another women's fight, women's flyweight. Number 12 ranked Casey O'Neill is making her return. She's 10-2 overall, 5-2 in the UFC. She'll be taking on number 14 Gabriela Fernandez, who is 11-3 and 3-2 in the UFC. Interesting here. So Casey O'Neill, I believe she was out with a knee injury. Hasn't fought since, I want to say mid-2024. She had a win over Luana Santos. So I feel like, come back. It's a must-win for her. Gabriela Fernandez, on the other hand, not too much to say about her. She's on a 3-fight winning streak right now. Very, very tough. I'm going Fernandez by decision. Shout out to Casey O'Neill, though. Respect. All right. Now, we have another fight. We got big boys here. We got the heavyweights. We got number 8 ranked Marcin Tybura, who's 27-10, 14-9 in the UFC, versus a guy making his debut on, I believe it's a week's notice, Tyrell Fortune, 17-3. He was 14-3 in the PFL/Bellator, so don't really know what to do with that information, but, a little bit about Tybura, though. He's 3-2 in his last 5. He got finished twice in the first round by guys that probably shouldn't be getting finished by. But he's 40 years old. I think regardless of what goes on Saturday night, I think this should be it for him. Tyrell Fortune, on the other hand, short notice guy. He's replacing Walter Walker, big submission guy. Tyrell here is on a 3-fight KO streak But I was checking into those. His last fight, I think he KO'd somebody that was like damn near 50 years old. So I don't really know what's going on with that. But with all that being said, I got Tyrell Fortune TKO first round, second round. Moving on. Oh man, lightweight bout here. We got Chase Hooper, 16-4 and 1, 8-4 in the UFC, and he's taking on Lance Gibson Jr. I didn't write down his record. It wasn't the best, but a former PFL Bellator guy there. Chase Hooper is 4-1 in his last 5. He did get KO'd in his last fight. Whatever. He needs the grapple here. He needs to grapple real bad. Lance Gibson Jr., he lost to King Green on his debut, split decision. It's a weird fight, very strange fight. Lance Gibson Jr., his dad I know was a professional fighter as well. Junior, slow starter. He's decent all around, but I got Hooper by decision. I feel like he uses his grappling and his experience in the UFC here, and takes the win by decision. Another one here, another lightweight bout. We have Ignacio Bahamondes, who's 17-6, 6-3 in the UFC, versus Tofik Musayev, who's 22-6, 7-1 in Rizin in Japan, and he's 0-1 in the UFC right now. A little bit about Bahamondes. He's 3-2 in his last 5. Lost the decision to Rafael Fiziev and Ludovic Klein, I believe. And he's got really slick striking, man. I think he's really good, but he just can't get over that hump sometimes. I don't really know. He's got good grappling too. I know he's thrown up a few submissions here and there, and he's really tall for the weight class. Really tall. He's 6'3", 6'4". Really patient, really poised guy. Musayev, on the other hand, he got submitted by Meitelbek Oralbai, I believe, in his debut, which I don't know. I don't want to take that for much here, but he's got great stand-up finishing ability. He's got 18 knockouts. Questionable on the ground. I haven't seen him grapple too much. Fast starter though, very fast starter. He likes to brawl. He's got a big overhand right. I think this has potential to be fight of the night, if I'm being honest. If these guys are going to stand there and bang, like I think they're going to, or I think they should, I'll say, this got potential for fight of the night for sure. These guys are going to be going home with some extra money. However, I think the key to victory for Bahamondes here is he's gotta be patient and keep his distance, keep his distance from Musayev. That dude he likes to get up in your business and really fight. So, all that being said, I got Bahamondes second, third round TKO. So let's move on to the main card. So the main card, first fight of the night, we got Terrence McKinney, who's 17-8 overall, 7-5 in the UFC. He's taking on Kyle Nelson, 17-6 and 1 overall, 5-5-1 in the UFC. Let's start with Terrence McKinney though. Terrence McKinney, 3-2 in his last 5. Finished 3 guys, got finished twice. Pause. He's never been to a decision. Very fast starter, super reckless. Fight IQ for me real questionable on this guy. But the thing is, he's so talented. Great striking, good wrestling. He's a local guy too, from Seattle area as well. So Kyle Nelson, he's 4-1 in his last 5. His last fight was a decision win over Matt Favola. I believe it was in October. He's durable, patient, very tough, very, very tough. This one's kind of tough to pick because, Terrence McKinney comes out so crazy sometimes, and he could, either one of these guys could get finished in the first round. You know what I mean? But overall, I kept going back and forth with this one. I was like, I got Terrence McKinney first round TKO. But my final prediction here, I'm going Kyle Nelson by late finish. I want to say, end of the third round. If not, Kyle Nelson by decision. If it goes past the first round. That's a key point here. Moving on. Middleweight bout. We got some big fellas here. We got Mansour Abdul Malik, who's 9-0-1, 3-0-1 in the UFC, taking on Yasuri Belgari, who's 9-3 overall, It's an interesting fight here. So, Mansour Abdul Malik, he's an undefeated monster. Hasn't really been tested yet. I think they're clearly building this guy up. They're just feeding him cans, honestly, for the most part. No disrespect to those guys, but what are we doing with some of these matchmaking? All his wins, all by finish. He's TKO'd pretty much everybody, submitted everybody. Yusuri, on the other hand, this guy's interesting to me because he's a 6'5", 6'6" kickboxer. Used to be in Glory, teammates with Alex Pereira, former middleweight and light heavyweight champion. He's got really good striking, man. I think his key to victory, honestly, if this guy wants to win, is he's got to keep it standing, keep the distance, throw up a lot of teeps, throw up a lot of leg kicks, throw some knees. Man, I have in my notes here, I got Mansour by late finish, but something is telling me to change that pick. So you know what? I'm going Belgari by TKO. I don't know what round. Belgari TKO. Fuck it. All right. Moving on to a featherweight bout. We got some 145ers in here. Who's the hardest hitting 145er? We got Julian Erosa, who's 31-12. Jesus Christ. 9-8 in the UFC. And he's taking on Lorian Douglas. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong, brother. He's 13-5, I believe. Julian Erosa's 3-2 in his last 5. Got 3 finishes. He's a vet. Got a lot of holes in his game. But he's got so much talent, too. Very, very tough guy. Good on the ground. Good on the feet. He's got to make this one ugly, honestly, if he wants to win. Lorian Douglas, on the other hand, this guy is, I think he's legit. This is his debut. He had a nasty first round knockout on the Dana White's Contender Series last year. I want to say it was in September. Could be wrong. Scrappy, very tough on the ground. Great cardio. Yeah, this is a tough one. I think for Erosa to win here, he's got to be smart, which I feel like he has a hard time doing sometimes. With that being said, though, let's cut this one short. This fight's not super important. I got Douglas by TKO. I think he's going to go in and put hands and feet on Julian Erosa and put him down. So, no disrespect, Juicy J, but I think Douglas is going to get you out of there. All right, moving on. We have a welterweight fight, 170. We got Michael Chiesa, 19-7 overall, 14-7 in the UFC. He's taking on Nico Price, who's 16-10, 8-10 in the UFC. Fucking ridiculous to me. I'm not a huge fan of this fight. I'll be quite honest. I don't want to talk shit because I know Chiesa's been around a long time. He's from Seattle and this is his retirement fight. Good for you. But I have in my notes here. One of my bullet points is don't really care. Sorry, but Nico Price. He's 1-6 in his last 7. He's the guy that the UFC calls when somebody that the UFC likes is about to retire, and they're like, "Hey, can you fight this guy? Because we know he's going to beat your ass." I mean, that's what happened when Robbie Lawler retired, right? They called up Nico Price and he got knocked the fuck out. So, yeah, I don't really like this fight. Not a fan of this one, honestly. But I got Chiesa by submission or decision. There's no way you can lose your retirement fight at home to somebody named Nico Price, right? You can't. I might have just jinxed it, so don't tail that one. Anyways, moving on to the co-main event. We have a women's flyweight matchup. It's a rematch, actually, between these two ladies. We got number 3 ranked Alexa Grasso, 16-5-1, 8-5-1 in the UFC. We got against Macy Barber, number 5 Macy Barber, 15-2, 10-2 in the UFC. I like this matchup. I do, actually. I like it a lot. Alexa Grasso, she's lost 2 in a row. She lost the decision to Natalia Silva and decision to Shevchenko. She fought Shevchenko like fucking 3 times in a row. That shit was... Anyways, Grasso's very poised. She's got great boxing, good BJJ. She submitted Shevchenko in their first fight. In their first matchup, when she fought Macy Barber, I believe it was 2021, She kept the distance. She picked Macy apart. I watched a little bit of highlights of that fight. Alexa looked good, but that was 5 years ago. Things change, people change, right? Macy Barber, on the other hand, she's on a 7-fight winning streak. The last time she lost was to Alexa Grasso in 2021. The thing with Macy Barber, she's had some health issues. I don't want to say a lot of health issues. She's had some health issues. Kept her sidelined for a while. That's her thing. She did look great in her last fight though against Karine Silva. I think she looked great. She moved forward. She put a lot of pressure. She looked good. And for here, she's got to move forward, pressure. I think she's got to wrestle. If I'm being honest, I don't think the key to victory here for Macy Barber is to stand and box with Alexa Grasso. I could be wrong, right? She could come out and fucking just knock her out, right? That would be fucking crazy. But I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately for her and fortunately for Grasso. But yeah, man, this is a tough one to pick because I'm a huge fan of both ladies. Alexa Grasso, former champion. Yeah, it's tough, man. But I'm going to go ahead and say I got Macy Barber by decision. That's going to pretty much take her into the next title shot, I believe. If it's not Natalia Silva next for that belt against Shevchenko, then I think it should be Macy Barber if she wins this fight. Moving on to the final fight of the night, the main event. We have number 4 ranked Israel Adesanya, who's 24-5, 13-5 in the UFC, taking on number 14 ranked Joe Pyfer, 15-3, 6-1 in the UFC. Oh boy. Oh boy. Where do we even start with this one? So, Israel Adesanya, 3-fight losing streak currently. Got finished twice in a row. He got submitted by DDP, Dricus du Plessis, and then he got TKO'd, finished by Nasruddin Imavov. That one was bad. And then the fight that started this losing streak was when he lost to Sean Strickland. He got dropped bad. I want to say that was the first round he got dropped pretty bad. I thought it was over. Yeah. Anyways, I think Izzy needs to manage the distance here, pick his shots, use his experience, be smart. We want to see the last style bender again, right? We don't want to see Izzy get finished by fucking Joe Pyfer, guys. Come on. I haven't, I will say that's me. I haven't been the biggest Adesanya fan as of late. But I just think that this is a weird matchup that they gave to him. Respect to him for taking it because clearly this guy he'll fucking fight anybody. But I think we need a vintage Israel Adesanya performance here if he wants to win. The last bullet point I had here, and I fucking felt bad even writing this down, was I put Izzy's chin questionable. Is it right? He, like I said, he got dropped by Strickland. DDP was putting hands on him. He got finished by Imavov. I don't know what his chin's like, and Joe Pyfer hits fucking hard. So we'll see. To touch on Joe Pyfer a little bit here, he's on a 3-fight win streak. He KO'd Marc-Andre Barriault. He got a decision over Kelvin Gastelum, and then he submitted actually Abus Magomedov, which is three good wins. But you look at the caliber of guys that he's beat right there, right? And then you look at who he's fighting, and you're like, man, this doesn't really make sense, right? And you think about Joe Pyfer, he lost to Jack Hermanson, which was, I don't know, guys. I don't know what to say about that one. But more about Pyfer here, he lands big and he lands early. He pushes the pace, he gets in your face. He likes to stay in the pocket and likes to bang, and I would say as of late too, he's mixed in his wrestling a lot too, which I think is good on him, right? Because he clearly has a strong base. He's a good wrestler. I think he should use it more. I think a key to victory for him here is obviously, like I said, push the pace, get in Izzy's face, make him uncomfortable. We've seen Izzy, in the past fight off the back foot. Not the best, right? We saw him the first fight against Pereira, finished late in the 5th round. He's up against the fence. He's doing all this, didn't look too good, right? And then the second time he fought Pereira in the UFC. When he finished him, right, he was still up against the fence, and that was a lot of questionable strikes that were going on there too. But you know, that's a toughie. I think, like I said, the key's the victory for Pyfer though. Land big early, push the pace, get in his face. Don't get starstruck, right? Because I feel like that's a bigger point that needs to be made than some people think, right? Because people think, oh, he's gonna go in there and fucking knock Izzy out. He's just gonna run up in his face and KO him. This guy has, if you've seen Pyfer talk about Adesanya, he has so much respect for him, right? And he knows what he's up against. He knows who he's fighting. Izzy's a legend. He's a long-standing champion, been in the game for a long time. Respectable fighter. You can't get starstruck though. You get starstruck, you start watching him dance and do all these moves, and that's how you get fucking knocked out, right? So I think Pyfer has a big opportunity to finish early here. He's got to finish early if he wants to win. And I think, honestly, a finish over Adesanya, despite Adesanya's recent fights, sets him up for a top 5 fight. He's right there in the mix. He's a 14 guy, ranked number 14, fighting the number 4 guy. It's tough, man. It's tough. This one was man, guys. This one was very hard to pick for me. Because, like I said, I'm not the biggest Israel Adesanya fan, and I'm not the biggest Joe Pyfer fan either by any means. But and that's no disrespect to either guy, right? But just not my thing. But I got Adesanya by decision or a late TKO. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. If you don't like that pick, you could go with Pyfer gets an early KO. I feel like that's like the easy, safe pick, right? Is to say, oh, Joe Pyfer just runs in there and starches him in the first round, right? Gets in his face, puts him up against the cage, knocks him out, right? Big right hand. I don't know though. I'm not falling for it yet. Joe Pyfer, he's got a good career ahead of him. I think this is a bit too much too soon for him, if I'm being quite honest. That's my honest opinion. And like I said, Adesanya by decision, or I got him in 4th, 5th round TKO. Well, that concludes it. My picks for UFC Fight Night Seattle, Adesanya versus Pyfer. Stay tuned for the next video. Should be Sunday or Monday. I'll be breaking down this fight card, going over my picks, and then also matchmaking the guys who fought on this card. Stay tuned. High Guard MMA, we out.